Okay, so we need to learn how to do speed calculations so we can compare these three roller coasters. So let's start off with a nice simple example. The question says we've got a roller coaster that travels a distance of 2,500 meters in a time of 50 seconds. Find its average speed. So again, the main reason I'm taking the time to do this is so as we understand this system. When we do our calculations in science, we must follow a 5-step rule, and that rule goes like this. First, you make a list. Second, you write your formula or your equation. Third, you substitute. Fourth, you evaluate. And 5, you get your answer with the correct unit on it and you draw a little box around it. Okay, so what does that look like in practice? So we'll run through the question one more time. The roller coaster travels a distance of 2,500 meters in a time of 50 seconds. So the first thing we do is we make our list. That's step 1. Okay. The distance is 2,500 meters, and I always make sure to include the unit on my list. The time is 50 seconds. And the average speed is the thing I'm trying to work out. So in the list, the average speed was going to have a question mark on it. So that means I know that that's what's going to tell me what version of the formula I want to rearrange it for. So we come back to our distance, speed, time formula using our magic triangle, and I know I want the version that's going to look for average speed. So that means I cover average speed. I cover that with my thumb, and that's equal to whatever's left over. So I've got distance on top divided by time on the bottom. So I come back down to my question, and that's exactly what I do. Step 2, I write the formula or the equation. So average speed is equal to distance traveled divided by the time taken. Now, it's important to note here at this point that an equation, the word equation has got an equals in it, okay? So it should have one thing on one side and another thing on the other side. In other words, d over t is not an equation, that's half an equation. So try to get into a good habit with this, have whatever's on the left equal to whatever's on the right. So that's step 2, I've written my formula or my equation, tick. Done. On to step 3. Next one is substitution. So if you've ever played FIFA or any of those football games, then you know how to substitute players. Well, in science and math, we do the exact same thing. We check our list to see what distance traveled equals, and we check my list. Distance traveled is on top, that's 2,500 meters, so that means that goes there. So I replace the word distance traveled with what it's equal to. The next one is time taken. I check my list, and that's 50 seconds. And that goes there. Next step is evaluate. So I have now done my substitution correctly. And notice I've included the units here as well. Next step is to evaluate. In other words, I work it out. So I'm going to rewrite it here. 2,500 meters divided by 50 seconds. Well, I know the zeros will cancel. And then I can do a little bit of short division. That really leaves me with 5 into 250. And that leaves me with an answer of 50. But of course, what unit is going to be on that answer? So I come back up here and I have another look at the units. Whoops, I made a big mistake here because I forgot to put in my unit in here. So I've got 2,500 meters divided by 50 seconds. The meters is on top, the seconds is on the bottom. So I wind up with an answer that's got meters on top, seconds on the bottom. Average speed is equal to 50 meters. And that's the 5th and final step, where I take my answer with the correct unit and I've double checked that that unit there matches what comes out of here. Those two things should match. And then I finally just very simply draw a little box around it, and that'll help the examiner or whoever is ever going to mark this, your teacher maybe, to see the answer quickly and they will know that you got it right. So that's it. That's the 5-step rule. Very, very simply, one more time. It is list, formula or equation, substitution, evaluation, answer with the correct unit and put it in a box. It's a great habit to get into, so please don't skip steps.